Media blackouts are used during times of declared war to keep useful intelligence from the enemy. Every day for decades, there has been a media blackout, distracting the masses about making the cost of living cheaper for everyone, while so many people suffer and die. Who wants to pay high prices for everything when life could be easier and cheaper? There are so many books, movies, and sources of information trying to convince people the world is running out of energy or collapsing, leaving people with very little to do about it. As of November 9th, 2012, over 18 million people just on YouTube alone have seen Zeitgeist moving forward, which tries to convince people the world is running out of energy, and somebody claims in the movie nothing can come close, even within 1%. And I have math later in this video that proves all of the world's energy can come from hemp fuel and then some, not even considering all the land that can be converted into arable land good for growing food crops. Make up your own mind and do your own research.
Oil is the foundation of, and it is present throughout the edifice of human civilization. There are 10 calories of hydrocarbon energy, oil and natural gas, in every calorie of food you and I eat in the industrialized world. Fertilizers are made from natural gas. Pesticides are made from oil. You drive oil-powered machines to plant, plow, irrigate, harvest, transport, package. You wrap the food in plastic, that's oil. All plastic is oil. There are 7 gallons of oil in every tire. Oil is everywhere. It's ubiquitous. And it's only because of oil that there are 7 billion people, or almost 7 billion people on this planet right now.
The arrival of this cheap, easy energy, which is equivalent, by the way, to billions of slaves working around the clock, changed the world in such a radical way over the last century, and the population has gone up 10 times. But by 2050, oil supply is able to support less than half the present world's population in their present way of life. So the scale of adjustment to live differently is just enormous.
The world is now using 6 barrels of oil for every barrel it finds. 5 years ago it was using 4 barrels of oil for every barrel it finds. A year from now it's going to be using 8 barrels of oil for every barrel it finds.
What's disturbing to me is the lack of any real effort from governments worldwide or industry leaders worldwide to do something different. I mean, we have these sort of attempts to build more wind power and to maybe do something with tide. We've got attempts to make our cars a little bit more efficient. But there's nothing which really looks like a revolution coming along. These are all pretty minor. And that, I think, is pretty frightening.
And the governments who are driven by these economists who don't really appreciate what we're talking about are trying to stimulate consumerism to restore past prosperity in the hope that they can restore the past. They're printing yet more money lacking any collateral at all. So if the economy improves and recovers and growth, famous growth comes back, it'll only be short-lived because within a short period of time, counted in months rather than years, it'll hit the supply barrier again. There'll be another price shock and a deeper recession. So I think we go into a series of vicious circles.
So you have the economic growth going up, price spike, everything shuts down, that's where we are now. Then it starts to come up again. But what we have now is this area where there's no more ability to produce cheap energy. We're at the peak. We're on the downslope of oil production. No way you're going to get any more out of the ground any faster, which means that things shut down. The price of oil drops, which it did in early 2009, but then as you have an ersatz so-called recovery, the price of oil starts to come back. It's recently been hovering around $80 a barrel, and what we see is at $80 a barrel now, with the economic and financial collapse, people are having a hard time affording that.
World oil production right now is about 86 million barrels a day. Over 10 years, you're looking at roughly 40 million barrels a day having to be replaced. There's nothing around which can come even within 1% of meeting that sort of demand. If we don't do something pretty quickly, there's going to be a huge energy deficiency. I think the big mistake is in not recognizing a decade or so ago, that a concerted effort needed to be made to develop these sustainable forms of energy. I think that's something our grandchildren will look back on with total disbelief. You people knew that you were dealing with a finite commodity. How could you possibly have built your economy around something which was going to disappear?
Hemp can create over 50,000 biodegradable products, saving the earth. Hemp plants create more oxygen and breathe in more CO2 compared to trees per acre. Cannabis prohibition is keeping the cost of living artificially high. Nobody dies from cannabis, and coffee kills people. Look at all the coffee shops and Starbucks everywhere. Think about how the government is preventing a free market, keeping prices artificially high. Hemp field can make America or any country energy independent with renewable, non-toxic energy, and it wouldn't take long. Some hemp strains mature in 60 to 90 days. Hemp strains with THC produce more biomass. Ethanol, methanol, methane gas, and gasoline without sulfur can be derived from biomass made from hemp. Hemp can produce 10 tons of biomass per acre every 4 months. Biomass has a heating value of 5,000 to 8,000 BTU per pound. The hemp plant is one of the only plants that can be harvested year-round in states like California or Florida, for example. Hemp field would create a clean energy source that would make all poisonous forms of energy obsolete. Hemp harvests more biomass per acre compared to corn. Hemp is less energy intensive. Think of all the corn being grown for ethanol that uses lots of dangerous pesticides, when hemp uses less water, no pesticides, no herbicides, no chemicals. Hemp can even remove radioactive waste from the soil. Hemp helps detoxify and regenerate the soil. Falling leaves replenish the soil with nutrients, nitrogen, and oxygen. This rich, organic mulch promotes the development of fertile grassland.